So that can be up to 2 big blinds more that you get in 100 hands by taking the superior strategy. Now, if you had a marginal win rate of, say, 1 big blind per 100, then we can actually almost triple your win rate with just this small change. So it's kind of a big deal, isn't it? It's small changes that don't add up to a huge amount of EV, but when we encounter them often, then it can make a big impact on our win rate. So let's break down this situation. In my recent book, Poker Math That Matters, which you can find at QTipPoker.com, shameless plug, I go over most of the math that you'll have to use to analyze common hold'em situations. However, one thing I don't cover in the book is multi-street math. And the main reason I didn't do that is because it can just be stupid difficult at times and isn't practical at the table math. So when I'm analyzing a situation like this, I like to use the software. But I want to show you these strategies laid out in the software so you know I'm not just pulling the numbers out of thin air. We're going to look at a few different things as we examine this hand. We'll keep some constants as we compare strategies in order to properly compare them. But let's start out with how many of the marginal winning tags would play this hand against some different villains. Okay, so the setup we have here, we raised a pot pre-flop. This is a no limit 100 game. We both have $100. We have 6-5 offsuit. The big blind calls. What I did here was give him a 20% range, took out queen queen plus. We're going to run some different VPIP, so don't be too concerned about his range right here. The flop comes down queen 10-5, so we flop our bottom pair. He checks with all of his hands, so this is a passive player we're against. Actually, we'll see he's extremely passive in our assumptions. And we decide to check back instead of c-bet. And then on the turn, he checks with all his hands. We're going to bet pot if we improve to 2 pair of trips, and he'll call with anything middle pair or better, any flush draw he has, any open-ended straight draw he has, and I also put a gut shot in here that has an ace to go along with it, and he'll fold anything else. He'll check on the river regardless of what he has. We're going to bet pot. We still have 2 pair or better. Sometimes we'll be counterfeited, and then with our 2 pair, like say we turned a 6 and then the river was a 10, then we wouldn't have, our 2 pair would be counterfeited, and we'll check at that point. But if we still have 2 pair or better, we're going to bet pot. He'll call with anything top pair or greater. So again, no raising with monsters, and he'll fold anything else. Back to where this tree branches off. If we don't improve on the turn, we'll check back. He'll check on the river with anything. We'll bet if we improve to 2 pair or better, and he'll call with anything top pair or better, fold anything else, and if we don't improve, we'll just check it down. So we'll check our EV with this strategy. Okay, the EV of this strategy is 3.25, and since this is no limit 100, it's $3.25. So we're going to keep track in an Excel spreadsheet of the EV of this checking instead of c-bet strategy. So what I'm going to do is throw in another VPIP here. I'm going to take it to 40. I'll take out ace, king, queen, and king, king. I'm going to run it again. And I'm going to go ahead and fill these in for the 40 VPIP, 60, and 90. And then I'll come back when we start our next strategy. Okay, so I filled all these in. 20 VPIP, 3.25, all the way down to 90 VPIP, 4.27. Now we're going to look at a strategy where we're going to c-bet. And again, we have 6-5. Let me put in that 20% range we'll start with. And so he calls with that 20% range without queen, queen plus. He checks. We're going to bet half pot with our bottom pair. Again, going to be a very passive player. Anything middle pair or greater, he's going to call. Any open-ended straight draw, he's going to call. Any gut shot with an ace in it, he'll call. Anything else, he folds. Checks to us on the turn with anything. If we again improve to 2 pair or better, we bet pot. Otherwise, we check and check it down unless we ever improve. On the turn, he'll call with middle pair or better. Again, is opening a straight draw or a flush draw. Going to have him fold his gut shot. He'll fold anything else too. And then he will check the river with anything he has. If we still have 2 pair, we're going to bet pot, to which he'll call. If he has top pair or better, folds everything else. If we don't improve, or if we get counterfeited, this is what this is, then we'll check back. So let's run the EV and take a look at our strategy on the flop. So the EV of this c-betting strategy is 3.5 at a 20% range, which you can see is higher than the EV at 20. I'm going to fill in these other 3 and then be right back. Okay, those have been filled in, and you can see at every VPIP the c-bet strategy is a superior strategy given our assumptions. Here at a 60 VPIP, it's actually over 1 big blind per 100 better. At a 40 VPIP, it's almost a big blind per 100 better, not quite. So the c-bet strategy is superior at every VPIP. Now, we're going to look at another villain we could say is a very aggressive villain. He's going to bet with all his hands. He's going to bet pot on the turn. We'll call with all our hands whether or not we improve. Then on the river, he's only going to bet pot if he has top pair or better. We're going to call him if we have 2 pair or better. Otherwise, we're going to fold. So he never bluffs us on the river. And if he did, obviously our results would be worse. But if he doesn't have top pair or better, he's going to check. We'll bet pot with 2 pair or better, which, given what we know about his strategy, isn't a good idea. But let's say we don't know that. We bet pot with 2 pair or better. He's going to fold all the time, which is why that's no good. And then if we don't have 2 pair or better, we're going to check. So we'll run the EV for that. Okay, so I've filled in all of these for the inducing strategy. And as we look at the 20 VPIP, you can see that it's just barely plus EV to take this strategy at 0.79, and he's firing for value so much on the turn that it's hurting us. When we get to the 40 VPIP, and actually when you look at all of them, you can still see that the c-bet strategy is still the superior strategy. At around 40 VPIP, these strategies, in terms of checking with a passive villain and checking with an aggressive villain, they start to get close, around 60 as well. So now 60, the inducing strategy overtakes with the passive player because he's bluffing so much, and the same with the 90%. But still, c-betting is the better strategy. Now, the next one we're going to look at is when we're against someone that check raises quite a bit. And when someone check raises, it's detrimental to any type of thin value betting because it has such a heavy impact, because they're not only taking, when someone check raise bluffs you, they're not only taking away your bet, but they're also taking away the pot that was rightfully yours. So check raising plays a big role in whether or not you c-bet.